If you're connected to Northside Christian Church, you've probably heard about the Generous Project. But if you're just now connecting to Northside, you may be wondering, what is this Generous Project and what's it all about? Let me try to summarize. One of the biggest barriers that we've been experiencing here at Northside in our mission to connect more people to Christ and one another is the space limitations in our children's area, our youth area, our lobby area, and even in some of our larger adult worship services, where we have had families, guests come, and they couldn't find a seat for all of them together. Or they've gone to a children's room, and that particular room was full that Sunday, and they didn't feel comfortable leaving their children. I guess it makes sense when you consider over the last 10 years, 504 people have been baptized. 605 have placed membership. And our church has grown from 560 people on average to 1,200 people on average. Therefore, the Generous Project will create the space and the place to connect more people to Christ and to one another. The Generous Project really is two project options. We have both the Generous Project and we also have the Exceedingly Generous Project. Really, the difference between the two is the level of Northside's giving commitment over a 2 to 3 year period of time. That will be the difference between those two projects. Now, both of these projects will increase our traffic flow, improve it. It will also increase our parking, just to different levels. But let me show you quickly, when it comes to the building plan, what these two different projects would do. With the Generous Project, this is our current building right now that we have now. The Generous Project would include the addition of a new 1,009-seat worship center. That worship center has been designed for intimacy, for closeness in space. In fact, the distance from the stage to the back wall is really only 10 more feet than the room that we have now. Because this is the last worship center on this property, it's going to include an unfinished balcony. This balcony will have a couple rooms in it, but this balcony will also have additional seating for 500 people. Now back to our other image here, you'll see that our main worship center will also have a couple additional rooms and restrooms. And then it'll connect to our existing building where we will do some expanding of our early childhood department. We will also then remodel our existing worship center to include a 2s and 3s department and a worship space for students. On the main level, that's the Generous Project. Now, if we have to stop there, this will solve many of our problems. Because if we have to stop here, our old youth center will still have the 9th through 12th grade in it, but the 7th and 8th grade will come out. Downstairs, the 5th and 6th grade will come out and will come into this new worship space for a middle school worship hour that will alleviate some of the space issues we have in the two other worship services. If we can do the Exceedingly Generous Project, then we would build this new youth worship space, 188 seats. This will double their capacity and allow the old youth center to be used for future offices, for small groups to meet during the week, and for storage. As you look at our current basement right now, you'll see that all of the basement becomes a children's area for the children to use. This Generous Project will create the space and the place to connect more people to Christ and one another. Really, the goal of this project is that as a church, we would not turn inward, but instead we would continue to reach outward. That we wouldn't just think about ourselves, but we would continue to think about those who are not yet here, those who have stayed or strayed away, those who have yet to come into a relationship with a Savior. And so because of that, our entire Northside family right now, we are considering our own giving commitments to this project. I've been meeting with groups, but here in a couple weeks, we are going to be passing out on March 11th some of these brochures provided by Empire Printing. Cliff Hampton and Austin Owens have done this free of charge for our church to help share the need of this project. This brochure talks about the 5 questions that we're asking ourselves to determine our own giving commitment. It also has the commitment cards that we're going to be turning in as a church on Commitment Sunday. In fact, here's how this is going to work. I want to invite you to the first 3 Sundays in April. Easter Sunday is April 1st. Resurrection Sunday, huge Sunday in the life of our church. Commitment Sunday is April 8th. On that day is when, as a church family, we are going to be turning in our commitments towards the Generous Project. And that will determine whether we do the Generous Project or the Exceedingly Generous Project. And then come back, because on April 15th, it's going to be Celebration Sunday. We're going to celebrate the sacrifices of this church family, the work of God in our church, pray for His provision as we move forward. So I want to certainly invite you to come back on April 15th. And then finally, there is still opportunity right now to sign up for one of our presentations where we get into all the details of this. You'll be getting that information in the bulletin and on the website and other places where you can sign up. And Northside, as we launch this Generous Project, may we continue to connect more people to Christ and to one another.